Hey everyone, my name's Necrotic and this is Loki. So this is probably going to be a really long video, so I've made myself some notes to make sure that I don't forget anything that I wanted to say. It's not going to keep me on track, I will just ramble, but at least I won't forget anything. So the first thing I just wanted to say is while I'm starting to record vlogs now, it's probably going to be mostly Loki on camera because I don't really like being on camera. Which makes vlogging an interesting choice, I'm sure, but it is what it is for now. In the past, I haven't really wanted to talk much about my ADHD, which is autism and ADHD, because even though my GP and my regular therapist both agree that I have ADHD, to get a full official diagnosis, they've had to refer me to a neurodivergent specialist. The NHS waiting lists to see a neurodivergent specialist are so long, like years long. I've been on the waiting list for a few years already, and it's still going to be around May 2025 before I'm likely to even get my first appointment with the specialist. So it feels kind of weird to me to discuss having ADHD when it's only my regular GP and my regular therapist, not the specialist, that currently say I have it. Oh, super helpful there, Loki. I guess we won't be looking at Loki or video, so what we'll do is we will move the owl. We will try to move the owl. This isn't working at all. Okay, we will move the owl and we can watch the sleepy owl instead. Yeah. This owl is amazing. This owl is a hot water bottle. So, like, it's got a hot water bottle in the back here. It's really cool. I love it. Doesn't have a name yet. See, this is why I made notes. So let me bring my notes back up. I'm totally not going to edit this out, by the way. I'm just going to, it is what it is. I'm leaving it. It is what it is. So yeah, it does feel a bit weird, like talking about having ADHD when it's just my GP and my regular therapist who agree that I have it, and I haven't seen the specialist yet. But yeah, if I wanted to pay to see a private neurodivergent specialist, then obviously I would be seen a lot sooner, and that would mean that I would get my full official diagnosis a lot sooner. But for the most part, like a GP note or a note from my regular therapist is fine for every situation that I've needed to prove that I have ADHD. And paying for a private specialist is actually going to cost like £3,000. So, I would need to have a lot of situations where like a letter or certificate or whatever it is from the specialist is actually going to make a difference in my daily life. I don't know how many situations it would be helpful in, But one of the things that I was sorry, I'm just checking my notes, which is why I keep having to get distracted because I'm looking away and then I'm looking at my notes. And yeah, this happens all the time when I make notes. So yeah, one of the things I was talking to my GP and my regular therapist about is how common it is for ADHD to go undiagnosed. And it's actually very common because sometimes they can kind of hide each other because they can be quite contradictory. So if you're kind of presenting more autistic one day and more ADHD another day, even in the same situation, you'll have a completely different reaction depending on so many different factors. Like, I mean, I'm sure that stress and sleep and whatever, are massive factors. How busy a place is, like half the time I can be fine and excited when I'm going shopping, and then just slightly too many people and I'm just not okay with it anymore. Like, I'm going to have a meltdown, a panic attack. It's going to be the worst thing ever. So yeah, I was talking to my GP and regular therapist about that, and it can go undiagnosed for so long, which is why I'm now an adult and I'm still not even at the top of the waiting list to see a specialist. So that's fun. Oh yeah. So one of the things that my GP and therapist were saying is that it's really common for people with ADHD to kind of question whether they actually have ADHD or whether it's autism or whether it's ADHD instead of being both, or whether they don't have either. So that can obviously lead to a lot of confusing emotions, and it just makes it really hard when, like, I want to talk to people about my experience. Hi, Loki. Are you going to come and sit with us again? No? No. Come and sit over here. Yeah? No? Okay. No? Shall I move Mr. Owl? Maybe you're going to sit there now? No. Okay. Maybe Mr. Owl can come back then. Yeah. Okay. We move. No. No. Okay. Loki's just not going to make his mind up. That's fine. Loki doesn't have to make his mind up. It's okay. Do you want to be on camera, Loki? Come on. Come on. There. Nope. No. Here. Lie down. Okay, you're just going to put your butt there. If you face this way, then I don't have to put the bit I haven't tidied on camera. This is really the excuse. This is why the camera is pointing here, not to the stuff that I didn't tidy up before I started recording. Anyway, let's get back to looking at my notes and checking where I am, because yeah, this is going to be like a 20-minute long video at this point. So where did I get to? Oh yeah, so it's common to have ADHD undiagnosed even into adulthood, because I've already said this, haven't I? So autism and ADHD can hide each other and present differently in different situations, so it can be really hard to tell if you have both or which one you have, or some people can have both and not realize and then question whether or not they actually have either, and it's just confusing and a lot of conflicting emotions, and yeah, it's not fun. It makes wanting to talk about it really difficult, because on the one hand, well, at least from my personal experience, but I've seen other people like talking about it and trying to make vlogs about it and saying that they feel really awkward about it as well, because like some days you can be really, really bad, and some days you can seem like fine, and people wouldn't even guess that you have ADHD. So yeah, it can be like a confusing mess. But one of the things when I was talking to my GP and regular therapist, what do you call a regular therapist? Like, because the therapist that I see quite often, but that doesn't specialize in anything specific, so isn't a neurodivergent specialist. Anyway, them. They both told me that to try and help stop having those confusing feelings about whether or not I have ADHD, at least until I speak to this specialist, which is, like I say, estimated to be May 2025 at the earliest. So a long way off yet. So basically I just have to look back over like the last 15 years of trying to accomplish certain life goals and just failing repeatedly. No matter how many different strategies I put in place to try and achieve those goals, something would happen and then I'm way off track and then I've completely failed and then I have to start again, and it's really annoying and it's really frustrating and it's really depressing. Like really depressing. And like sometimes instead of being depressing, I'll just get angry about it because I'll be like, well, why can other people do this and I can't? And it's just infuriating. And that's not the point that I'm supposed to be making at the moment. So yeah, the point is just that I've struggled to achieve things that I think should have been, if not easy in that time, at least fairly possible, you know? Like, maybe sometimes I don't estimate how long things should take very well. So I'll think, oh yeah, I can get this done in a year. Whereas maybe a neurotypical person will be like, yeah, it's going to take a neurotypical person 3 years to accomplish that goal. So give yourself enough time, you know. But there are things that I should have been able to achieve in that 15-year span that I just haven't been able to. So yeah, my GP and regular therapist was saying, you know, think about that, because that's one of the things where if I look at all the difficulties that I've had with achieving certain goals and the difficulties I have in day-to-day life, that just shows that I do have ADHD. And so that's obviously then making me feel kind of miserable about it, you know. So then I have to focus on how the only therapy that's actually really helped with any of these issues and goals and daily struggles has been when the therapist has gone, okay, instead of just regular therapy that we might try with everybody, we're going to try a different approach that we try with autistic people or ADHD people. And then eventually that led into therapist and GP agreeing, yeah, I have ADHD. That's why these very specific things are working and other things aren't. See, I thought this video was going to take me like 10 minutes to record and I'm already like 13 minutes in. So, yay. I've got completely off track and I'm like only halfway through my notes. So that's good. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is, I'm totally off track and I'm not going to re-record this already. I'm just going to finish going through my notes, even though I'm not speaking very well and I'm not saying what I need to say or want to say very clearly. And then I'm just going to upload it because then it's done, and my therapist said that vlogging is good for me. So yeah, we're just going to do it that way, and we're not going to focus on whether or not I could do it better. I could do it better, but if I get into that spiral, I'm just going to re-record this like 10 more times, and none of them are going to get any better because I'm going to get partway through, I'm going to get distracted, and yeah, I'm doing it again. I'm already distracted. Okay, so yeah, the next thing I wanted to talk about is dysphoria. So dysphoria does cause quite a lot of issues with daily life, actually. So I was in my late 20s. Oh, you're going to be able to hear Loki on the litter tray. I'm not editing that out either, you know. I will bring the owl back in as soon as Loki's wandered off. Yeah, so I was actually in my late 20s when I went from being completely flat chested to starting to develop a female chest. And at first, it wasn't too bad because this is something that does develop quite gradually. It's not like flat chested one day and very noticeable female chest the next. But eventually it got to a point where binders just weren't hiding it, and I could wear like the most confidence killing outfits, so like layering baggy hoodies on top of it and everything like that, and it still just wouldn't hide my chest, which is currently, for anybody who knows what this is like, 32 double G. If anyone knows of any binders that can actually hide that, because obviously 32 should tell you how there's not really anywhere to hide the double G's, because there's, basically I'm trying to avoid saying I'm too skinny to have a chest that size. So it's not a complaint about being too skinny, it's a complaint that you can't hide that size, So if anybody knows of any ways that will actually hide that, please post in the comments below. I'm always willing to try different binders. I've tried a lot and they're always really, really expensive and they never actually work. So I don't mind expensive binders, but if I still have to put like 3 baggy hoodies on top of it and it still just makes me look female, what you doing, Loki? Loki's having a hyper time, so you're going to hear him like banging toys around and stuff now. Yeah, so I don't mind expensive binders, but if I'm wearing a really expensive binder and it's obviously tight, uncomfortable, I get sweaty because binders are kind of horrible in that respect as well. If it's still just making me look female, but just like a smaller chested female, it's not doing its job and it's not worth the effort and the discomfort and the money. And you can't wear them for very long anyway, because if you wear them for too long, then they can cause permanent like lung and rib damage if they're too tight and you wear them for too long. Anyway, yeah. So if anyone has any advice for that, that would be greatly appreciated, because that's actually the main reason that I hate being on camera. Like, I can't hide my chest. Which is why, as Loki's wandered off, you are just looking at my owl hot water bottle at the moment. Yeah, next point. The NHS waiting list for non-binary top surgery is also years long. I have no idea when I'm actually going to be at the top of the list for that. They're not even giving me an estimate at the moment. Private non-binary top surgery is like £8,000, kind of starting ballpark prices. I don't necessarily object to spending that, just there's a lot of expensive goals that I have this year, and it's like, it's a healthcare thing and I'm in the UK, so it really should be something covered by the NHS. So I kind of want to wait, but at the same time, if it's interfering too much with my daily life, then obviously I should look at putting the money aside for private care, or starting a GoFundMe. The thing is, I don't like it when people start GoFundMes for something that should be covered by the NHS, because it should be covered by the NHS. And I feel like GoFundMe should be like, you know, if I don't have any money and I need a new car for work or for mobility issues or something like that, then I know the NHS don't cover giving you a car. They cover like other mobility aids, you know, like wheelchairs and mobility scooters and things like that, but they don't cover cars. But like top surgery is actually something that is covered by the NHS. And so whether I'm paying for it myself or whether I'd like start a GoFundMe or whatever it would be, it still feels kind of weird because it just should be something covered by the NHS, and it shouldn't take so many years to actually get access to that essential care when not having that essential care is causing so many problems in daily life, you know? So, wow, I really did think this was going to be like a 10-minute video, and I just glanced at the timer and I'm already at like 21 minutes. So I'm still only about halfway through my list of notes here. So yeah, that's fun. Hey, Loki. Yeah, so next on my list of notes is to discuss the kind of goals that I have for this year. So you go on camera if you're going to meow. No, we're not going to headbutt the mic. That's not good. Thanks, Loki. Yeah, so I don't really have a lot of goals for this year, but all of them actually involve finding ways to cope better with the daily issues and difficulties I have that are caused by ADHD, autism, and dysphoria. Because at the moment it just kind of feels like I've been putting my life on hold a little bit, and I can't just keep putting my life on hold until I'm able to get the help that I need with ADHD and dysphoria. So I'm not really sure how I'm going to go about finding better ways to cope, but yeah, that's like every goal I have for the year is going to be kind of centered around finding better ways to cope. Hello, Loki. Hello, Loki. Yeah, so if anybody has any tips for coping with any of the struggles that they have because they have autism, ADHD, both, or gender dysphoria, or any of that, like, please feel free to leave some help and guidance and tips and whatever in the comments below, because it would be really, really helpful and really, really appreciated. So yeah, I've set myself a goal specifically for this month, actually, which is January. Wonderful. Thanks, Loki. Yeah, so a goal specifically for this month, which is to see if there's a better way that my GP can issue medical notes. Because one of the things I'd really like to do is find a nice place to live that I can see myself living for basically the foreseeable future. I hate moving. Well, I like moving, but I hate moving. I hate the process of moving, but I like being somewhere new, like new areas and stuff. This is one of those things that falls under the amazing conflicts between autism and ADHD when you have both. But the actual process of moving, I absolutely hate, because you've got to look for somewhere, you've got to pack everything, you've got to make sure you don't forget everything, you've got to actually do the traveling, you've got to set everything up in the new place so that you're not going to get anxious and so that you can actually sleep. And it's horrible because you move somewhere and like the room will be a different shape or a slightly different size, or the window will be higher up or lower down than it was before, and then you've got to adjust the bed so that the window is like the right distance above the bed. it's just not fun. Like, once you've moved and you're settled in, it's fine. But I hate moving. And one of the big issues with the way that my GP issues medical notes is they can only issue medical notes for 3 months at a time. So when I'm trying to move and I need a landlord to understand that I have ADHD and I need my cat, they have this thing where they're looking at the note and they can see that the medical note only lasts for 3 months. So I really need it to be like super clear that I am neurodivergent and I need my companion animal. And even though the medical note is issued for 3 months because for some reason that's how the medical notes work, I'm not suddenly going to stop having ADHD and I'm not going to suddenly stop needing my cat, you know? So any adjustments that a landlord has to make or any accommodations that a landlord has to make so that they can rent the property to a neurodivergent person with a companion animal is going to be permanent, not just for a 3-month medical note. But GPs they do put in that something is a permanent condition, but I don't think they put it in clearly enough when the medical note will have like a valid from and to date, and it will always just be for 3 months. So maybe that's like the only thing at the moment that I think the neurodivergent specialist giving me a diagnosis as well as my GP and therapist diagnosis would help for, because I think the specialist is the one that gives you like the permanent diagnosis. So then the medical notes wouldn't only last for 3 months, I think. I mean, tenancies tend to be 6 months to a year, and then they often go into like rolling tenancies. One of the things that I want my GP to say is that's actually really anxiety inducing. So I'd like to have tenancies that are for 1 year or 2 years. And then instead of going into a rolling tenancy, like maybe 3 months before the end of the tenancy, I could just have it renewed for another like 2 years, or after I've been there for after I've been there for 1 year, I can renew it for 2. And then when I've been there for 2, I can renew it for 5. And then when I've been there for 5, just assume that I'm not moving. You know, I don't know. There should be something that would make like finding nice properties when you have a cat easier. Like the government in the UK was supposed to be making it that landlords can't just refuse animals, and they certainly can't refuse service animals or companion animals, especially with medical notes and stuff like that. But yeah, landlords still find a way around that. So better medical notes would be really, really helpful. And my next note that I've made for myself is, while I'm asking my GP to make it clear what I need from landlords, like I do need my cat and all that, I could also try to get my GP to make it clear what issues I have in daily life that make like work and social situations difficult. Because when I had less healthy coping mechanisms for ADHD and before I had the dysphoria, I didn't really think that I'd need to get like a work coach or a life coach or, anything like that. I never had particularly unhealthy coping mechanisms, but, some improvements needed to be made. And as I make the improvements, then it's more noticeable what difficulties I have that are because I have ADHD. So now I have a self-employment plan, but I have a lot of issues. I think most of them are ADHD related, but some of them are dysphoria related. And trying to explain to a work coach how I do have these self-employment plans, but I'm really struggling to get them off the ground and I really need help with that is quite difficult. And I'd like it if my medical notes could make it a little bit more clear that some days I am going to be exceptionally productive. I'm going to be exceptionally on the ball with everything. Loads is going to get done. And then I might have like a whole week where I basically can't do anything. And I'm really mad at myself because I've set myself goals and maybe they would set me goals. It's like having a personal trainer and there's something that you're supposed to do, like the simplest, most basic thing that a personal trainer might tell you to do. Like fitness wise, where it could be, I don't know, like swap all of your tea for water for 3 days or something. And you just fail because you really meant to do it. But then, I mean, in my case, I would be like in town and I would go past one of the really nice tea shops like Bird and Blend, and then they will have like, let's face it, it's me. So probably the packet is going to have like a cute little black and white cat in a little wizard hat on the front. And I'm going to buy the tea. And then that's my fitness goal completely gone out of the window. And then I'm super mad at myself that I failed the swapping tea for water thing. But then I'm super happy that I got the cute tea, which never tastes as good as the packet suggests, actually. But, I mean, it's good tea. It's always good tea. But, like, if you buy tea just because it has a cat on the packet, I guarantee that there are better teas that just don't have cats on the packet, That is completely off track. Anyway, self-employment coach. I mean, to be fair, I might be rambling on, and this should have been a vlog that should have taken 10 minutes, and it's now over half an hour. But I am actually getting through my list, and then this is actually going to get uploaded. This is going to get uploaded today. Hopefully I'm not going to record it again. I'm not going to actually start watching it back, which is why it's not going to get edited. It's just going to get uploaded, because if I start watching it back, I'm going to hate everything about the way that I've like stumbled across my words and got anxiety and panicky about everything, and I'm going to think I can do better, and then the perfectionism is going to come in and it's never going to get uploaded. So yeah, it's just going to have to go up as it is. That's going to have to be okay. Hopefully anybody watching this actually either is ADHD or autistic or ADHD or knows someone who is, and then you'll be used to this. It's fine. Yeah, basically I need my employment help person who's helping me set up my self-employment. I can't even remember whether they call themselves coaches or what they call themselves. It's just my helpful employment person. But yeah, I need them when they're trying to help me set my goals and work out how I'm going to achieve each step towards being self-employed. I need them to understand how the ADHD works and a little bit of how the dysphoria works. Because obviously the dysphoria at the moment is probably even a bigger barrier to like socializing, and therefore any kind of, work situations are socializing as well. It's all dealing with people. Even if you work from home, you're still dealing with people because you still have to reply to messages or take phone calls or take video calls, so it's still social, it's still dealing with people. So yeah, dysphoria, because binders aren't working, is obviously probably the more noticeable barrier to that, because that's just going to get to something like, oh, can you do a video call? Well, no. I can't actually. And I've been talking for years now, anybody who saw when I did actually fairly consistent Twitch streaming, um, I've been talking for years about wanting to do like camping and travel vlogs. But you really need to be on camera for that. I kind of stopped streaming when I got the dysphoria bad enough to not want to be on camera, because I don't think people really like watching streams if you're not on camera, you know? People are watching the stream to hang out with you. While I'm on this topic, the reason that I didn't really struggle with streaming until the binders stopped working was because with that being live, I couldn't get into like a perfectionism black hole and spiral out of control trying to fix everything because it was already live. So once I hit stream, like that's it, that's happening. Like there's no way for me to, well, I mean, I can watch it back afterwards, but there's no way for me to edit it because, you know, everybody watching's already seen it. Does that make sense? Yeah, that probably makes sense. Anyway, yeah, that. But yeah, like I say, binders not working means I'm now at a point where I don't want to sit on camera, and people just like seeing streamers on camera. So yeah, I don't know if that even, I got so sidetracked there. Hi Loki, that I don't know if that even really covers what I was talking about. Anyway, so yeah, like work coaching, life coaching thing. I just need somebody who is able to look at the problems that I have dealing and coping with my ADHD and dysphoria so that I can achieve those goals, you know. Like maybe for neurotypical people, working like 5 days a week is okay, but I don't think I could do that. So I need to be working smarter, not harder, which is easy to say, but it's not actually easy to work out what I need to be doing. So, you know, the idea is I get someone else to help me with that. But then if they don't understand how to help me, yeah, I must have properly explained this by now. You know what I mean? You know. So yeah, I've now got a note. I think I mentioned this earlier, but I've got the note down here on my list. So let's talk about this again. My therapist has actually said that vlogging would be good, and any vlogging would be good, not specifically the kind of vlogging that I really want to do. And we've been trying for a while now to get me to just make any kind of vlogs and upload them, not on a set schedule, but at least fairly regularly. So yeah, vlogging is obviously kind of like journaling, and therapists are a big fan of journaling. The only difference with the way, nope, that's my next note. I've missed one. Sorry, just checking my notes again. Yeah, so one of the reasons that my therapist thinks vlogging of any kind would be good is because if one of the things that I want to do is camping and travel vlogging, and I just mean like as a hobby, you know, I don't think, well, I mean, I'd like to be able to do that and make it like an actual job, but, you know, it's really hard for anybody to be a successful vlogger. Probably more so for somebody who is supposed to have been making a 10-minute video and now we're at like 40 minutes. So, yeah, I don't necessarily see it becoming an actual job, but it's something that I'm interested in. It's something I want to do for myself. So my therapist was saying like any kind of vlogging would be a step towards eventually being able to do the camping and travel vlogging that I want to do. And vlogging kind of works like journaling, and I don't know if this is just my therapist and whether it's just aimed at me, but I think therapists, because I've seen a few different therapists over the year, and they all seem to kind of like journaling. But the one that I see the most often, my favorite therapist, who whenever I need different blocks of therapy for different things, I always try and request the same one because he is awesome and he really understands me now. He's not a neurodivergent specialist, but he has worked with me a few times, so he gets me, and like he already knows some techniques that might make it easier for me to achieve whatever I'm in therapy for at the time and whatever I'm trying to achieve. So that's really cool. So the way that he says it, like a lot of people when they do journaling, it's about accountability and like you set yourself goals and you work towards things and just have a good way to hold yourself accountable and, you know, like make sure that you are. I'm trying not to show any of the mess in the background because I really haven't tidied up. So it would have been more helpful if Loki came more on camera. Yeah. So yeah, it's about, you know, for most people, most neurotypical people, it's about like having a way to hold yourself accountable. But that doesn't really work for me. So instead of that kind of make sure you get something done kind of accountability, my therapist likes the idea that I use it more as like a analytical tool. And if I've not achieved a particular goal the first time that I tried to do it, then I need to look at what stopped me achieving the goal and see if there's any way that I can make it easier to achieve next time. Because even if you have to take smaller steps the next time you try something, you are still moving towards the destination, you know? It's just going to take you longer to get there. So that's fine. And maybe one of my goals should be, if a vlog is supposed to take me about 10 minutes, it shouldn't be taking me nearly an hour. So yeah, have I done all of my notes? I'm just going to quickly check through. Oh yeah, so this particular vlog, I did actually spend like a week making bullet point notes just to say what I thought I wanted to say in this one. And I have changed them so many times. I have changed the order that they're in so many times. And it really was supposed to be a 10-minute video. So it takes so much energy and being in the right headspace for me to even start trying to record something like this. So one of my goals for this year, that I'm not going to set a time that I want to be achieving this by, because there isn't really a deadline for it. Like, it'd be nice if it happens this year, but at the same time, as long as I'm doing the vlogs, I don't think it matters if I actually streamline this process. But what I would like to get a little bit streamlined is that I don't want to spend like a week planning and making bullet points of things that I want to say for each vlog. I'd like to just be able to kind of have an idea, be in that right energetic headspace to actually record, and just record, because I can use my phone. My phone is pretty much always in my pocket or something, you know. It should just be whatever the idea is, just do it, upload it, and then it's done, and then it's fine. Not like loads of planning, because the planning takes energy. And I'm not going to go into a explanation about what spoon theory is in this video. Like, if you're watching this video, you're already on YouTube, so you can just search for spoon theory if you don't know what it is. But it's about energy usage anyway. And I would get more vlogs done if I had to spend less energy making the vlog in the first place. So less energy planning and bullet pointing and rearranging, and then if I can stop myself watching it back and deleting it and recording it all over again because I wasn't happy with it, and the editing would have been more energy intensive than just re-recording, That's a big thing for me. Maybe I need to find a way to make it so that editing something... Oh no, because then I have to watch it. So maybe it's not the editing itself that makes it more energy consuming to do it that way. Maybe it's because once I start rewatching things to edit them, that's when I suddenly just hate everything and just want to re-record. So yeah, the goal basically is not to be too much of a... It's not even perfectionist at this point, because if I don't watch this, I know it's not perfect. I know I could do better, but if I don't watch it, I won't see that it's not perfect. So it kind of is perfectionism. Anyway, yeah. Hopefully that makes sense, because I can't really think of a good way to explain what I'm trying to explain. Basically, I just want to be able to, hopefully by the end of the year, or hopefully not that long, maybe... I'm not going to say within like the first 6 months of the year, or within the first quarter of the year, or something like that, because I don't think that's very realistic. Like, it's taken me I think it must have been like the start of last year that my therapist started trying to work with me on ways to be able to record like one vlog a week. And as you can see by the fact that pretty much nothing other than Loki's daily video got uploaded last year, that didn't really go according to plan. So I don't think I'm even aiming for one video a week. I'm just aiming for, when I do have an idea, that I don't have to spend so long planning it and getting so anxious about it and re-recording it however many times, you know. I just want to record it and be done. Because that'd be good. Then maybe like 1 week I will do 3 videos a day, and then maybe I'll do none for a month. Which is really not the way that most people would like to see YouTube videos be posted, you know. But my goal with this is that it works for me and it gets me doing the thing that I want to do. Like, I know that most viewers like consistency. You know, even my favorite YouTube channels to watch are the ones that have a very consistent upload schedule. Even though I don't watch them on that consistent upload schedule, I like that there is consistency there, because it means whenever I check in, there'll definitely be new stuff for me to watch. But I know that where I am at the moment in trying to find ways to cope with my ADHD and dysphoria, I am not going to be able to set a schedule and actually stick to it. And then if I don't stick to it, I'm going to be miserable. And then I am just going to give up for months, you know. I'm going to have to talk to a therapist again and be like, okay, so I failed for a few months and now I need a plan for this. So the plan for this is that I don't set a schedule. I just kind of try my best, and hopefully along the way, maybe I'll find some more tips and tricks and things that help to get things done. And wow, I am nearly an hour, but it's okay because I am nearly at the end of my list. So my next note is, oh, yeah, this practically is the end of the list. So I now have to work out how I get from where I am now to being able to make those awesome winter camping and travel videos with Loki. So the way to make sure that Loki is happy about that and that I'm happy about that, I thought I'd really like to get a van and convert it into like one of those tiny house camper things. Obviously I'm not planning to do van life or anything like that. That's very not a me thing. I mean, I really like the idea of it, and I'm sure my ADHD side would absolutely love it because I could go to different places all the time. But then my autistic side is just going to be like an anxious ball of tears in the corner being like, whoa, no. everything is different all the time and this isn't good, and sometimes we just need to be in the same place. Because I love travel and I love seeing new places, but at the same time, I hate leaving the house. Um, so, I have to look after both of those sides for that to work. So, like, the idea of one of those kind of tiny house camper things is taking a lot of comforting, familiar things wherever I'm going for the camping or the travel vlog, and that's like a really cool idea. Um, so the problem with that is that at the moment, I don't know what things I would need to have in that van, and I don't know what size van I'd need to do it. Um, so like, you can watch a million of those tiny house van conversion, camper conversion videos, and everybody has really good ideas and they're all really cool. But I think maybe a lot of the people that actually make those videos are probably neurotypical. I don't see, I was going to say, I don't see many of them talking about ADHD or autism or ADHD, but I don't think I can actually remember seeing any where they've talked about that. So maybe the van life thing, which is where the really nice campers seem to be, is actually just neurotypical people. So what they need in theirs is very different to what I would need. And of course, all ADHD, autism, and ADHD is all very different and a very personal experience anyway. So I could do this project and it is not going to work for everybody with ADHD or autism or ADHD. But before I can actually pick what size van I need, I really need to know what's going to go in the van. So my very first goal for this year is, well, it's kind of a long goal, so there's going to be anything that takes less time is going to get fit in as well. I'm going to use working out what needs to go in the awesome camper as motivation to do some decluttering. This is something that I know a lot of people with ADHD are quite bad at. Like, oh, sorry, I just inhaled a cat hair. Fantastic. I know a lot of people with ADHD can be quite bad at this, because when I was trying to work out the best way to do it, like the most efficient way to declutter, I started watching videos from other people with ADHD, or I don't like saying just autism or just ADHD, but people who don't have both, basically. And I'm not sure that anybody has a particularly good strategy for it other than get somebody to come and help. And that can just be body doubling. The person helping doesn't really have to do anything, just be there. Like, they can be sat in the room reading the book and it's fine. I would also ask whoever's helping me to make sure that I'm not letting my autistic and ADHD sides argue with each other too much, because that can be a big problem. Basically, my autistic side tries to make everything sentimental or useful, and my ADHD side just wants to be done with the task really, really quickly. My ADHD side also just forgets things that I have. So if I don't see something or use it pretty much every day, so for example, like something that's tidied away in the back of a cupboard, I'll just forget it even exists, and I don't miss it and I don't think about it until either maybe I'm packing to move, or I've got someone helping me do spring cleaning, which I never do in spring. It's normally winter. because when it's winter, quite often there's not so much to do like outside that's really fun. Like if you try and do spring cleaning in summer when it's too hot to go out everywhere because everywhere's just boiling and horrible, you have to have really good fans or air conditioning set up to be able to actually do the spring cleaning. Otherwise, you're just melting indoors as well, and that's not fun. So yeah, whenever I get around to either spring cleaning or if I'm moving house or something like that, obviously everything gets packed away. And then I will suddenly discover something that I completely forgot I even had. And so if I've got somebody there helping, they will see this amazing thing happens, which is like my ADHD side will get really excited about having found this thing for a while, and it's amazing and it's really fun. And then I'll be like, okay, but I don't really need this. So maybe I could get rid of this. I completely forgot it existed. I could totally get rid of this. And then my autistic side goes, but we might need this, or it might be sentimental. And maybe just tries to turn it into something sentimental, even if it isn't. Like, I have a bottle opener that I think one of my old housemates bought, and it's like a really cheap bottle opener. And last time I moved, I remember packing it. I haven't actually unpacked the box that it got packed in yet. I didn't move that long ago, to be fair, so like that's fine. Yeah. And I have better bottle openers, and I have bottle openers that I actually really like a lot more, but I still have that one. I'm like, oh, I'll just keep that one. When realistically, there's no point in me having it. I think the only reason I remembered it just then was because I was really trying to think of like, what did I see that would be a good example of what probably should be in the bin or donated or something, you know. And yeah, random bottle opener that I don't know why I still have. That would be a good example because I have plenty of other ones. Yeah. So yeah, that's just kind of something that happens and all the time when I'm trying to declutter. So I do need somebody to help. But then I always feel bad about asking for help. So then I'll be asking for help, and then I'll be constantly apologizing for asking for the help, which is really stupid. And it feels stupid to do, but then I can't stop myself apologizing for it. But I do need the help because otherwise, like, there's just going to be this big fight in my head about how important something is. And the thing is, once I actually either unpack everything in a new place or don't bother unpacking, because if I only have a 6-month tenancy somewhere and I'm not sure that I'm going to stay there after that 6 month, I won't pack at all. This is one of the reasons I was saying that one of my goals for this year is to find somewhere that I can have a really long tenancy, because I hate packing and I hate sorting things, and I just can't I'll look at it and I just can't do it, and I know it needs doing, and it's not even that I'll just sit around doing nothing, like I will crochet a jumper or something, so I'm doing something. It's just not necessarily the thing that I want to be doing. So yeah, the thing that was really, really awesome that had been hidden in the back of a cupboard and forgotten about gets put into a box, a move. It's forgotten about for like however long until I unpack. Then once it's in the back of a cupboard again, I completely forget about it until the next time that I'm either trying to declutter or I'm moving or whatever's happened where I have gone in that cupboard and noticed it again. And then it's the most exciting thing ever for a while. So it's a vicious cycle and it's really annoying. And yeah, so decluttering would be good. And having to work out what needs to go in that camper is going to be a really good excuse to try and motivate myself to try and get all of the decluttering done. I have absolutely no idea how I'm going to vlog updates on that, because I'm sure it would be really, really boring for me to actually just record myself doing the decluttering, and I'm probably not easily going to make myself want to be on camera. So yeah, I don't know how I'm going to do those updates. I will find a way, and hopefully it won't be too long before I do my next vlog. And hopefully in my next vlog, if I think it's going to take me 10 minutes, it will take me 10 minutes, not an hour, because it's been an hour now. I guess sorry, not sorry, because I know that by doing it this way and not checking it back and not editing it, I avoid the perfectionism and I avoid having to re-record it like a million times. So sorry, not sorry. Sorry. Yeah. I think that is everything. Oh, that is everything on my list for now. Yeah, good. Okay, that's everything on my list. So now I should stop talking and I should upload this. So yeah, I don't know how to finish this video because I don't have an upload schedule, so I don't know when I'm going to be making the next video. But if you've been watching this and have enjoyed it, maybe, or maybe you have ADHD or autism or ADHD and you found it really helpful and inspiring, you won't have done. Maybe you will. I don't feel like I've been very inspiring. But maybe you've been wanting to make videos as well and just get really nervous and anxious about how to start, and maybe you don't want to be on camera either, or maybe you are like me and you just get sidetracked and ramble on for ages about so many different things. And maybe this will inspire you to know that, like, it's okay to do that. You can do it. Just make the vlog. Like, even if it's just for yourself, it's fine. Everybody has to start somewhere with something that they want to do. So yeah, maybe it has been inspiring. Anyway, that is actually all that I have to say for now, so I don't know why I'm still talking, but thank you very much for watching, and I don't know when the next video will be, but I will see you next time, whenever that is. Bye for now.